My husband doesn't like to go out much. It's not something that I've ever faulted him for or been mad at him about. We've never gotten in fights about it till now, and it's something he told me up front when we had first gotten in the relationship 4 years ago. I'm never going to be the kind of person that likes to go out a lot. I just want to hang out at home. And I of course said that it was fine because that's not a flaw to me, it's just a character trait. I used to suffer from depression due to a lot of traumas in my life. I found it really hard to go outside at all, and especially alone. I missed out on a lot of experiences because of this. In our first year of dating, he got me to have more confidence in myself, so I stopped hiding. I got a therapist and have been on a wonderful little antidepressant. We got married 1 year later and I'm still happier than I have ever been, and I'm incredibly grateful to have him in my life. That hasn't changed one bit. Now, I know that this isn't what he does. I know that he doesn't stay inside because he's depressed, it's because it's in his nature to be a house cat. And like I said, I'm still fine with that. Lately he's not okay with me doing this, though. If I ask him if he wants to see a movie with me and he said no, or the more common, I don't know, maybe, I'll usually ask him 2 more times, and then if he still says no, or maybe I'll go by myself. It's the same with going out to dinner, taking little classes, etc. We had fun with this at first. I would come home from doing the thing and then I would excitedly tell him what I'd done and the people I'd met. He'd happily listen and hug me and kiss me on the forehead. It was a really beautiful thing. At one point we called it My Little Adventures, and I would take Polaroid pictures and show them to him and then hang them on the kitchen wall. It was a seriously beautiful point in our relationship, and the times that we would go out and take Polaroids together were some of the happiest times in my life. I even made it a point to have us go to things that he liked to do. It was great. It was seriously so great. About 2 years ago I asked him, "Hey, I've been really passionate about learning a language and eventually going to this language's place of origin. Do you want to study it with me and then go there too?" And he said no to the language, but maybe to going with me. Cut to now, and I'm pretty good at this language. I decided about 4 months ago that I am going to this place. I asked he would still like to come with me, and he said no and got kind of upset that I had learned this language without him. "You're the one that's going to know anything. There's really no point in me going." I was kind of taken aback because during the process he was really supportive. I didn't really push it, but I apologized and went somewhere else to clear my head about things, and we were fine later on that day. I bought the tickets for me and my mother to go to the place about 4 weeks ago, and ever since then, things have been really tense. If I ask him to do minor things, like come to the grocery store with me, he gets a bit of an attitude. I can tell that he knows this is ridiculous though, because he'll say sorry almost immediately and be sad and quiet the rest of the time. I've tried to talk to him about what's bothering him, but he keeps either saying that it's nothing and he doesn't want to talk about it, or will tell me not to press it and then get mad and leave. I don't know what to do at this point. Our relationship has been so great, but I can feel things being strained. I can feel him kind of slipping away. I don't know what to do. I thought about buying him a ticket to the place anyway and surprising him, because I really would love it if he could go with me, and I know for a fact it's somewhere he's always been interested in. But I also don't want to force him, because I hate forcing people to do things. However, I also don't want to stop having these experiences for myself just because he doesn't want to. I've never faulted him for wanting to be at home, so why is he faulting me for wanting to be outside? I don't know how to talk to him or what to say. If I have to stop doing things, then I guess I will. But I also feel bad for having to stop, but it's not worth getting a divorce over or having things escalate that bad. I just don't know what to do or where to go from here. We had a bit of a long talk. I'm kind of a mix of exhausted, drained, and excited now. He said he feels like he's drowning in my success. I said I would learn a language, and I did it. I said I would lose 180 pounds, and I did it earlier in our relationship and got the skin surgery. I have a pretty stress-free job, and it's getting to him. He's been trying really hard to just be happy, but it's hard. He understands that it's wrong to feel this way, and between feeling guilty about it and feeling this way at all, it's just been taking its toll. He also has a skin condition that makes him feel cautious of going outside, especially in another country. I never thought this would be the problem, because he's always acted as though it's not a bother to him at all and he doesn't care. He's going to keep trying though. And to seek therapy independent of me because he thinks that he also may really be suffering from depression. Now, I have to say that we do have communication problems. Our friendship, 2 years before dating, started off long distance in Antwerp, so we're still kind of better with text talking than out loud speaking. Sometimes we have a hard time saying when things are bothering us out loud. So we'll text it out and then read off of that text because we find it hard to verbalize, and sometimes we just take things harder than we should. We've agreed to go to marriage counseling and we're making an appointment together tomorrow, so there are good things afoot. For more good news, he's agreed to go on vacation with me and my mother. I messed up in this, too. I like to think that hearing maybe or other apathetic answers instead of just yes or no didn't bother me, but it did. And sometimes, as some people pointed out, I would get kind of passive-aggressive about it. I'd ask him simply because it meant that I tried at times. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. I'm going to work on that more in myself as well. My wedding was September 21st, 2019. We had a fairly decent-sized wedding. My cousin, on my stepdad's side, we are not close whatsoever. And her boyfriend have only been dating not even 6 months at this point. I've met the guy once before my wedding and he never shows up to any family functions. We're all having a great time at my wedding. My husband and I are mingling with guests while everyone dances. The next thing I know is my cousin's boyfriend asks the DJ for his mic and goes to the center of the dance floor saying he has an announcement to make and calls my cousin over. So, I rush over and say, "Nope, no one is getting engaged during my special day, especially during my reception. You can get engaged later tonight, but not right now. It's my day. Thank you for understanding," and I go to walk away. My cousin starts puffing and my aunt, her mom, starts yelling at me and calling me an entitled brat. It causes a huge fight and they all end up leaving. My mom, stepdad, dad, and stepmom all are on my side and were even pissed that they think it's okay to do that during a wedding they all paid for. My nana, stepdad's mom, says I was wrong and told me to apologize and call them over and allow him to propose. Needless to say, it didn't happen. Flash forward to Christmas. It was terrible. My stepdad's entire side were rude and ignoring my husband and I. And of course, guess what happens? My cousin and her now fiancé announced their wedding date, September 21st, 2020. I'm beyond pissed and so not planning to go. It's my damn 1-year wedding anniversary. My family is upset that they would do that to piss me off for not allowing them to get engaged during my reception. My cousin says they chose to get married on their 1-year engagement anniversary. Either way, regardless of the real reason, I'm still upset. Of course, my nana is super excited. I'm a professional ballet dancer for a living, but I also do some modeling in my spare time. Last weekend, I was doing a latex shoot. Before anybody says anything, it wasn't anything fetish-wise. It was just a shoot that called for wearing more uncommon types of fabrics. My outfit was a black full-body catsuit, so think of a skin-tight garment that covers from neck to toe, including gloves. If you've ever put on a wetsuit, then you can probably imagine how much of a pain it is. It's a pretty in-depth process that involves lots of baby powder, a lot of sweat, and some less than ladylike stances. Dressing usually takes anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes start to finish. I always dread it, but can't argue with the results. Anyway, my boyfriend was in my dressing room as I was getting changed. He doesn't always come along for shoots, but I needed him that day because my car is being repaired and we needed to go somewhere afterwards. His one kinda annoying thing is that he talks to me while I'm getting changed even though I very politely asked him to let me do it in peace. If I'm just putting on a dress or something less complicated, it's not a problem. But with latex, you have to concentrate, seriously. My facial expression is pretty similar to when I'm doing heavy leg presses or squats at the gym, so that the garment slips on correctly and, more importantly, you don't rip it. It's very easy to tear if you're not careful. And a full-body catsuit can cost upwards of $700 to $800 minimum. So as I'm struggling, may have been on the floor on my back with my feet up on a chair, pushing my butt up to get the garment over my hips, he won't stop talking. Come on, girl, you got this. Do you want help? I don't think you put on enough baby powder. Babe, you got this, get that big ass in there. And I politely asked him several times to just let me concentrate. He responds by saying, relax, I'm just trying to help, before patting me on the butt. I'd had enough. I demanded he stand outside because he was being super distracting and I couldn't afford to rip the garment. I didn't ask him to help because there's a technique to getting latex on and he doesn't have it. He got all pissy and was like, whatever, maybe you need a bigger size anyway, before leaving the shoot completely and taking the car. I had to get an Uber home after the shoot. On one hand, I was getting super frustrated, I was hot and sweaty, and combined with my kinda short temper, I was getting pissed off that I couldn't get the suit on. On the other hand, I asked him multiple times not to comment or distract me. And I never indicated that I was in the mood to be touched. I've been with my boyfriend for 11 years, since I was 15. His mother has hated me since the first day she met me. She hated me due to my ethnicity, Kosovan Albanian. She hated me due to my career. I work as a model and she decided that makes me an empty-headed, vain, shallow person. Then when I told her I still planned to go to university alongside my career, she said I was doing it to impress my boyfriend. I've since left uni with a distinction and her new reason to hate me is, I try too hard? She has also insisted I've cheated on him throughout our entire relationship, which is a ridiculous claim. I've never even kissed another man in my whole life. I have zero desire to cheat and never will. Late last year she attempted to void the insurance on my boyfriend's motorbikes. She tried to do this under my name so, hypothetically, when he was arrested for riding with no insurance and called his insurance company, I'd get the blame. After this happened, my boyfriend and I agreed to cut her out, however it hasn't stuck. She left my boyfriend alone and respected his wishes for NC, but she's continued to contact and harass me. This leads to the last few weeks. My boyfriend works as a motorcycle test rider and he got in an awful motorbike crash while working. As such, I now need to care for him. I'm okay with that and I'm focusing on seeing it as an opportunity for us to get closer. It's been nice, honestly. However, his mother has been awful to me. She's called me litany of terms. From things as tame as stupid to things as awful as a nasty Serbian half-breed. I'm not Serbian and she's well aware that calling a Kosovan a Serb is offensive. I tried to block her, so she started making new iMessage accounts and began to continuously harass me via those accounts. Then came Friday night. The police turned up at our door. I was pretty confused and was quickly told they were there to do a welfare check as they'd received multiple claims of horrific abuse I was apparently putting my poor boyfriend under. Obviously they quickly discovered he was fine, albeit grumpy, and they left. I know for a fact it was his mother. Some of the details the police mentioned made that obvious. I'm now at a point where I've realized I literally cannot do this. I'm going to press charges against her for the insurance and harassment. It's a crime in the UK. And I'm likely going to sue her for damages. For the sake of my mental health, I need to do this. I don't want to be a victim and she needs to be forced to stop. I have mentioned my intentions to her if she doesn't back off, and she's pretty much mocking me and saying I won't. I absolutely will. I just feel like this morally may make me an awful person. She sucks, I know this. However, she's old and miserable enough as is, and I feel like doing this may ruin whatever small amount of life she has left. It feels like it may be too far. I really don't know though, and I genuinely cannot be objective here.